So Bengal goes to polls in the fourth phase today with 44 seats in 6 districts. Voting that will decide the fate of film stars, ministers, 3 Lok Sabha MPs and even a cricketer. Babul Supriyo versus Minister Rup Biswas from Tollygunj is a key fight. Also is Kolkata's Behala East and West, where actors Payal Sarkar and Shwanti Chakrabarti are fighting on the BJP tickets, and Manoj Tiwari, the cricketer, in batting for TMC from Howrah North. But the polls, despite being held in 8 phases, is not proving to be a gentleman's game. In phase 3, over a dozen candidates were assaulted, as well as poll agents, and voters were intimidated in numerous places as well. In the run-up to today, now there have been sporadic clashes that have been reported even from the Kasba seat in Kolkata, and almost 800 companies have been deployed for this phase of voting, 101 in Kolkata alone. Mamata Banerjee joins us for the very latest. Mamata, almost halfway there really. If one were to look broadly at today's phase, what are the key things that are standing out?
Well, first of all, this is the biggest phase of elections so far. 44 seats going to the polls, and for the first time, North Bengal will go to the polls as well. 14 seats up in Cooch Behar and Alipurduar district. And down south, this is where the stronghold of the Trinamool Congress is.
All right, you're looking at pictures right now coming to us from Alipurduar in West Bengal. Like Mamata was talking about, this is the largest phase of polling in these 8 long phases of elections in West Bengal, and you see an impressive queue over there. And actually happy to see a lot of them wearing masks right now, because remember, this is an election happening in midst of a massive second wave of COVID-19. Some candidates there doing their rounds in the morning, and all the prayers that they really need over there. Today is the decider, and like we said, lots of important seats going up for polls this phase. In fact, to tell you a little more about this, about 800 companies have been deployed in this phase, and like I was saying, about 101 in Kolkata alone. But despite that, there have been reports of clashes that have been seen in, say, Cooch Behar in the north and Bhangar in the South 24 Parganas district over there. We continue to bring you visuals from different parts of Bengal right now, all polling in this fourth phase, the biggest phase this election for Bengal. Hooghly, there you see the candidate trying to oversee the situation. She went in and paid her respects in the morning, and now and like I'm pointing out continuously, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and the queues seem to be quite impressive for this time of the day. So a lot of early voters there trickling in, long queues being seen over there in Cooch Behar, in Alipurduar and in Domjur as well. Apart from that, big candidates that are actually fighting in this phase. This phase is to decide the fate of film stars and ministers and 3 Lok Sabha MPs as well, even a cricketer. We're obviously talking about the big Tollygunj seat as well, but that saw such an interesting and closely fought campaign there. Babul Supriyo versus Rup Biswas. Mamata, I believe, is back with us. Mamata, the pictures that we've been getting since morning, quite impressive of how long the queues have been for this hour of the day. And if I may add, some of them from Cooch, at least, impressive in the way that people are at least wearing their masks.
Yes, indeed. In Bengal, you always have these huge turnouts, which are great. But Sonal, even before I have been able to reach the booth at the Kasba constituency in South Kolkata, I am stopped here because there has been trouble at this booth deep inside Kasba in the Tiljala area. Since the morning, apparently there was trouble with the BJP candidate over here, Dr. Indranil Khan. I'll ask you briefly to tell me what was the problem.
Since the last 3-4 days, TMC goons. There are no TMC supporters. The ordinary people of Kolkata, ordinary people of West Bengal, they don't support TMC. They are supporting BJP.
But what happened?
But these people, they're afraid of losing elections, and that's why over the last 3-4 days, these TMC goons are continuously threatening voters of
What happened this morning?
And 67. This last night, they threatened
This morning?
This morning, I heard report that our agent has not been allowed to get in, and when I came to see the booth, I was prevented from getting inside the booth. And there were TMC goons who were standing in front of the booth. And when I asked the ordinary people, they said, how will we vote? Because the ordinary voters have been threatened that if they vote, their houses will vandalize. They won't be allowed to get out of the
Did
house.
police arrive and rescue you?
And after that, I went to see these people. They are very.
Police?
There was no. The police did not accompany me. When I reached here, I just asked the people that why are you afraid? There was media cameras, and in front of the media cameras, the people were so afraid, so shocked. They were initially afraid of speaking, but then they opened their mouths and said that how they have been threatened by some goons from the TMC. Last night, I have been threatened with life and property.
And were you threatened?
Yes, and when I reassured the voters that you just vote for the party you want, just let democracy thrive. Then this suddenly TMC goons led by one Pachu of this area, he just barged in and pushed me and then physically assaulted me in front of camera.
Okay, that's what you heard. Indranil Khan, first time contestant in the elections, and let me see if I can reach the booth right now. There are police here as well as some election observers who have come in, and we believe that there was quite a showdown when Indranil was trying to make sure that his polling agent could go in. Now this has been a bit of a concern this time, 8-phase elections in Bengal. Third phase we saw at least 6 candidates from both the BJP and the Trinamool being assaulted by either party workers or voters or whatever it was. This time round with 44 constituencies going to the polls, there are great concerns about how the votes will be conducted. You can see here some more police checking over here. But anyway, so that is a big concern, and the morning has not been particularly good in that way. We already have reports from Cooch Behar district at a place called Shital Kuchi of some fairly serious trouble between the TMC and BJP. Here in Kolkata too, South Kolkata, very close to places like Godiahat in South Kolkata, we've had this situation developing at this booth in Koshpa. But this is an exciting phase of elections because, in the last 2019, BJP had upped its percentage of votes to about 40% from just about 10 to 12% in 2016. So the fight is on this time. This phase, closely fought election, and we've had, everybody from the BJP coming into Bengal, campaigning widely, Mamata Banerjee also going hammer and tongs, given that the face-off is indeed something of a confrontation really and a showdown, just hoping that the day passes without a major incident of violence.